Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
Hey, I'm Luke. I'm a Democrat. I lean left, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Now, in this video, we'll be characterizing the governor races and updating our governor predictions for the 2022 midterm elections.
Yeah,
Um,
so here's our August map, and since we have a lot to get to here, we have 25 toss-ups. Let's just speed run the first good amount. So go
the
ahead.
first few, yeah, okay. So first, we have Vermont and New Hampshire. These both have popular Republican governors who are more liberal. We both agree that these are solid. Yeah.
Yep, and then in Maryland and Massachusetts, we have popular New England liberal Republican governors, I should say, that are leaving office, and their Democrat challengers are likely to win. So there we go.
Mm-hmm. In Rhode Island, there's an unpopular Democratic governor running for re-election. It is unknown whether he'll win the primary, but seeing as the climate's moving more blue, and Rhode Island's a very Democratic state, we think he's still heavily favored to win.
Yep. And then in New York and South Carolina, it's not going to really be that quick of a speed run here. But in New York, we had some new polling that came out from Trafalgar that showed Kathy Hochul under 50% and only up by 6. We just don't buy this poll, so this one's going to be safe blue. And similarly in South Carolina, another interesting Trafalgar poll here that showed this much closer than anyone would have expected. But, McMaster is still up by 8 in this poll. We think Trafalgar is just not that great at polling safe states, and that's going to be a safe red state.
Next, going to Iowa and Ohio. These are both states that voted for Donald Trump by likely margins. DeWine in Ohio, Mike DeWine, the Republican incumbent, is very popular. We expect him to win by over 10, and the polling suggests so as well. And in Iowa, similarly, Kim Reynolds is also polling really well there in a Trump state, and we expect her to win by a solid margin.
Yep, there we go. So we just cut our toss-up states in by a third. And let's move on to the likely states. So let's start with the likely Democrat states. In our August prediction, we had 2 likely Democrat states, Colorado and Connecticut. And I'm actually willing to move Connecticut into the safe column, into the safe Democrat column. I just don't see this one even coming within 10, probably. And I don't know what you think about this one, but go ahead.
I mean, I think this one could be a likely margin. The Republican running there against Ned Lamont is got it really close in 2018, a Dem wave year. He got it within 3 points, which is like crazy. I think it might be because he's a more moderate Republican, but another factors in favor of Lamont is that he's very popular, the most popular Democratic governor the last time I checked, or one of the most at least. I don't know. I think going into it, the incumbent Democratic governor is favored to win, but I think it'd be a likely margin. So, I mean, I don't know. How do you want to place this?
Yeah, sure. You can just put this as well. I mean, I don't mind. I'll just get whatever. I don't really care about Connecticut, to be honest. And then we have Colorado, and I think this one stays likely as well.
Yeah, I think I could see this one going solid. Jared Polis is
For
pretty
sure.
popular there, but I don't know. Some of the polling, the Republican, it's been okay. Recent polling has been like Republican leaning, like Republican pollsters, and they show it at a likely margin. So based on that, I could see it in solid. But
True.
we'll leave it in likely for now.
Yeah, I'm just not confident putting in solid yet.
Mhm.
And then for the likely Republican states, I think we can both agree Alaska is probably still likely Republican. Could
Yeah.
go to the independent.
After those primaries in Alaska,
Yeah.
um, yeah, we saw kind of a weak showing from the incumbent governor Mike Dunleavy. Oh my God. Yeah, he only got like 40% of the vote. Obviously, it was ranked choice voting, so he could see improved margins during the general. But I mean, we'll see. He's not. It doesn't seem it's locked down for him yet.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other races that we could also characterize as likely red in the Sun Belt. So we have Texas, which I think
Texas.
just stays likely, are not much change there. Florida, which could be moved into the safe column, but I think we're just safer off putting it into the likely column.
Yeah, DeSantis and
Um,
Abbott are
yeah.
both doing very well.
Yep, and Brian Kemp is just going to be holding on, probably by a likely margin as well. So, do you think we should be considering Kansas for the likely column? By the way,
Um, I wouldn't say so. I actually, yeah, I think Laura Kelly is in a pretty good position uh right now. I think, yeah, no, I don't think it'd be likely this time around.
okay, I agree with you. I think we can touch on that one later. So, or we could just characterize it right now. I mean, I think it's just a lean margin, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, yeah, Laura Kelly, the Democrat in Kansas, is very popular. Um, like she's a more moderate Democrat. I mean, she's running on the economy. I read in a recent article, so that could be interesting. I'm not sure how that'll work for her, but I mean, obviously the abortion vote in Kansas suggested like, hey, maybe there's potential for her to win re-election. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think it'll be close, but it is a red state at the end of the day.
yeah, and of course she has a pretty strong challenger as well. That's looking like he's favored.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then as for other lean red states, I'm afraid there's no more. Um, in my opinion. But
Um, okay. Let's. Where do you want to go next here? So
I
maybe
think we
we
should go
look.
to the lean blues here, which
I
there
mean,
are a
some of these
lot
I'm
of.
iffy about, but let's look at the the northern states first,
Yeah.
particularly in the eastern regions.
All right,
Yeah.
we can start with New England with Maine and then move on to the Rust Belt.
Hmm.
So in Maine, I think Maine is just going to remain as a lean D state. Of course, the former governor, I think Paul LePage, right, is
Yeah.
running. Um, and I think he has a shot, and it's going to be close. Probably the Dems going to win by 3 to 4 points, but he has a shot, and it's just going to stay lean D in my book.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, again, like you see, like the Democrats winning more recently in special elections and stuff. I think that Janet Mills is definitely favored by a lean margin. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of polling data, so I think we'll leave it in lean margin for this one. But I could definitely see this going likely in the general.
Yeah, I could see it going likely as well, but we need more data on that for sure. So softer rating there. And then as for the Rust Belt, this is a very interesting Rust Belt this time around. Let's go Pennsylvania and move our way west.
Well, okay, Pennsylvania, we have Josh Shapiro running against the very extreme Doug Mastriano. Um, I don't know. Yeah, this one's very interesting because Doug Mastriano is running on like very far right positions, further right than Trump and what's in than the mainstream that you'd see in the Republican Party. While Josh Shapiro is a good Democratic candidate, he outperformed Biden in 2020. He's tended to outperform Democrats in when he's ran for attorney general and run for re-election there. I think Josh Shapiro is favored to win. Some polling suggests he could win by a lot. Some his polling range is anywhere from like 3 to 10. It's been kind of crazy in PA lately. I don't know. Where would you put it?
Yeah, in my opinion, this is a lean likely margin, which again, I usually tend to put the lead margin when it's between the two, and it's again same with the Senate race. It gets probably 4 to 6, so I'd put it lean. But if you think it's likely, we could put it in likely.
Yeah, I think this is lean. I think Fetterman
Yeah.
is doing better against Oz than Shapiro is against Mastriano, to be
Okay.
honest.
All right, and then
Let's
we
go to
can go to
Michigan.
Michigan, which there's a very interesting race in Michigan. And last time we put this one into lean, but I'm leaning towards likely here.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say something similar. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
I
but tell
mean
me your
this,
thought process here.
yeah, I mean this recent Trafalgar poll just confirms that Dixon's behind with not that many undecideds. And I think while Dixon potentially could get it within 5, I think Whitmer is more likely to get above 5, and that she's safe, pretty safe to hold the seat unless something absolutely crazy happens.
Yeah, and most polls outside that Trafalgar put Gretchen Whitmer at 50 or higher. So I think it's pretty safe to say that she is definitely the favorite. Um, yeah, I
Correct.
think this could be a likely margin here.
There we go. Likely blue Michigan. And then in Wisconsin, Wisconsin, I tend to favor the Republicans here. Tim Michaels is outperforming Ron Johnson in the polls,
Hmm.
and he's getting it really close in Wisconsin polling, which usually favors the Democrats. And I think this is, if there were one of the two races in Wisconsin, I think this one's more likely to be a lean margin than a tilt margin. I'm willing to put it in both, but I think Tim Michaels is definitely favored.
I mean, before like in our last prediction video, I was leaning more toward putting it in the lean margin. But you know, I don't know, like looking at that, like there's a recent Trafalgar poll, which is very accurate in 2020, even with the polling error. It put Tony Evers actually winning barely by like less than a percentage point. I don't know. I think this will be very, very close then. And I think this is also like I don't know. Yeah, this is like for me is between like tilt red and lean R.
Yeah, same.
I do think Evers will do worse than Mandela Barnes in the Senate race, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll just put this as tilt. Another close Wisconsin, and then Minnesota. Minnesota, I don't think we got our new polling, right? Which is yeah, very unfortunate here that they just won't poll Minnesota. It's just so uninteresting. Obviously, we had this one poll out of Signal, which was the only poll after Dobbs that showed Tim Walz and Scott Jensen somewhat close. No, this one poll with others, as we mentioned in our last video, has the Legal Weed Party up at 7%, which is
Hmm.
pretty interesting and could be a spoiler for Tim Walz, as it probably takes away was Tim Walz's potential. And the Signal poll did not recognize any others. So
Yeah.
I'm still thinking this is probably lean. I mean, it could go to likely, and I think that's definitely a possibility, but they just need to release a poll.
Yeah, very little information from Minnesota, over the summer. Um, yeah, again, similarly to Maine, I could see this going likely Democrat. But again, not enough data. Like, I mean, with the nation like seeming to trend a little bit more to the left over the summer, I definitely could see this as likely. But obviously, there's like more factors like the legal weed party, uh, and how that factors in. Um, I don't know. I think for now, with the little information we have, we're gonna leave it as a lean Democrat. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Then we have these western states, west of the Mississippi. And do you want to start with Oregon or New Mexico?
Let's do New Mexico. Okay. So in Mexico we have uh the incumbent governor Lujan Grissom versus what was it?
Mark Ronchetti.
Mark Ronchetti. Okay, so Mark Ronchetti ran a good Senate campaign in 2020 and got it within 6 points. He's probably the best Republican candidate in New Mexico. Um, but I mean, Michelle Lujan Grissom, like I mean, she hasn't been doing like terribly bad as governor. And the latest poll put her up +7. And I'll just note that that is one of the most accurate polls in New Mexico. So I think she's been helped by the Dobbs ruling. I think that might have boosted her polling, and I think that might have booped her up. I'm more certain she'll win now. Like again, like this one I could have between lean and likely. Again, like
Yeah.
yeah.
I still don't see this one being safely into the likely column yet. I'm still more leaning towards the lead. Only because, I don't think Grisham is clearly there. I mean, she doesn't have over 50% in any of the polls, and I'm not sure she's gonna win by over 5 just yet. Not convinced. So well,
Okay, we could leave it lean.
since yeah, we'll just leave it lead. And then in Arizona here, Arizona. Arizona, we have Carrie Lake, also known as Crazy Carrie, and we have Katie Hobbs, who is pretty generic. And the polls sort of have Hobbs up. I mean, the aggregates do, but the recent polling has Carrie Lake outperforming Blake Masters, and she is
Yeah,
she's at least in striking distance, if not winning.
this one's a
Very tough,
very
probably
tough call.
one of the closest toss-ups of this cycle. And I'm probably willing to put this as tilt Democrat, but it could just definitely go either way.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the recent polling for this in August had Katie Hobbs, the incumbent Secretary of State, up +3 in a Fox News poll, and in a Trafalgar poll, it had Lake up +1. And Trafalgar tends to favor Republican candidates. So yeah, I think this could definitely go either way. And it's interesting because you have like on one hand the Secretary of State who runs elections, and on the other hand you have Carrie Lake, who's kind of definitely in this conspiracy that the election was stolen. Hobbs has refused to debate on the grounds that Carrie Lake is basically just going to be on stage spreading misinformation about her how she runs elections and stuff. I don't know. I think this is going to be one of the closest. I think I'll put it tilt blue for now, just because of how close it is in the Trafalgar poll. Yeah.
Yep, there we go. We can agree on Arizona here. And then
let's do Oregon next.
Yeah, let's do Oregon since Nevada is probably the closest race to cycle. Oregon, very interesting. I mean, usually would not wait for Oregon to go until this late. We have an unpopular Democrat governor who is not running again, and an independent candidate who's throwing everything into disarray. No polling since June, which is so unfortunate. And I mean, I'm still just probably just going to leave it as lean D. It's so unfortunate we don't have any more information.
Yeah, like I feel that this just because Oregon is a Democratic state, it leans toward the Democrats. But this is a three-way race. We have Tina Kotek, like a very more progressive Democrat from the Portland area. Then we have a generic Republican, and then we have an independent who's, I believe, previously been both a Republican and a Democrat, very moderate candidate. The polling shows it basically like each candidate having like a third of the vote. So I think this one could be very close, but we don't have enough information right now. And like based on Oregon's leanings, I think we're gonna leave it as a lean Democrat.
Yep, and then we have Nevada, which I think is still tilt Republican. I mean, that new Trafalgar poll has Lombardo slightly outperforming Adam Laxalt, and he's the sheriff of Clark County, right? Or former sheriff, or is he the current sheriff? I'm not sure. Either way, Lombardo is up by 2 or 3, depending on which poll you're looking at, and sometimes he's down to Sisolak in the other polls. But I think, these polls are somewhat whack. They have so many undecideds. Sisolak's like under 50% everywhere. And I think Lombardo is just slightly favored.
Yeah, unlike with the Senate polls, there is more polling that points to the governor race being even closer, and there's more polls that show Lombardo ahead. I think just one more, but I don't know. This one, I mean, I think I could put tilt R. I mean, I'm not particularly impressed by Sisolak's polling margins. It looks like he is doing worse than Cortez Masto in the Senate race.
Yeah, there we go. It's quite a disappointing video for anyone looking for rating changes here. If I'm not mistaken, our only rating change is in Michigan, where we moved the race from lean Democrat to likely Democrat. So we're still at 28 to 22, same as our last one. Unfortunate for anyone looking for rating changes. If you're interested in how this is looking in terms of the betting odds, 28 seems to be around the middle of the road in terms of the betting odds. Of course, for some reason, we have some MAGA Republicans, they're just giving up their money at 32 or more. which is technically possible, but so is 22 or fewer, right? So, anyways, there we go. 28 Republicans to 22 Democrats is our final map. So thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below.
Yeah, make sure to share with your friends.
Yep. Thanks for watching. Bye.
See ya.